All right, folks, buckle up. In 2022, Americans lost a jaw-dropping $60 billion gambling at licensed casinos and online. Yeah, you heard that right. $60 billion. And as Nate Silver puts it in his book, On the Edge, that's just the beginning. Apparently, we're all taking bigger risks these days, from sports betting to investing in, wait for it, crypto, because clearly, betting on sports wasn't thrilling enough. But that's not all, folks. While Americans were busy throwing money at casinos, they also managed to lose another $40 billion on black market bets. Oh, and just for fun, let's throw in another $30 billion on state lotteries. So in total, Americans wagered over $1 trillion last year. That's like 4% of the entire economy going straight into gambling. Who knew placing bets could become a national sport? But wait, this isn't just about gambling your paycheck away on blackjack or sports. According to Silver, this whole gambling craze is part of a larger trend. A trend where risk-taking has become the norm, from playing poker to investing in startups. Apparently, we're all living on the edge, whether we like it or not. And in this world, betting on a new dating app is basically the same as trading crypto. Who knew that swiping left or right could be considered financial strategy? Now, things get even spicier. Nate Silver divides the world into two camps when it comes to risk. On one side, we've got the village, made up of the academics, media, and cautious politicians. You know, the type that calculates their risks by carefully reading every term of service agreement. And on the other side, you've got the river, a wild group of poker players, crypto investors, and sports fanatics who live life like it's one big bet. In this showdown, it's brains versus adrenaline junkies. Silver even breaks down the river into subgroups, which sounds like something straight out of a superhero movie. Upriver is full of rationalists, people who calculate the odds and call it a day. Then there's Mid-River, home to Wall Street big shots and Silicon Valley moguls. They're the kind of people who'll disrupt an entire industry just to get a few extra bucks. Finally, we have Downriver, where you'll find hardcore gamblers and shady crypto schemes. Basically, it's like Vegas, but with worse odds. And speaking of gambling, sports betting has exploded in the US since the Supreme Court gave it the green light in 2018. In just 5 years, nearly 40% of American men aged 18 to 49 have opened sports betting accounts. That's almost as many as the guys with gym memberships. And here's the kicker. 38% of them admit they bet more than they should. But hey, it's just a game, right? All right, so what's the real damage? Well, a study from UCLA and USC found that in states where online sports betting is legal, bankruptcies shot up by 28%. And it's not just the gamblers going broke, it's everyone. Plus, credit scores are dropping faster in those states than in places where betting is only in person. So yeah, betting on your favorite team might cost you more than just a bad day. It could cost you your credit score. But wait, there's more. It turns out that in counties where online sports betting is legal, people are investing 14% less in the stock market. So, for every dollar spent on gambling, people are putting $2 less into something that might actually make them money. It's like we've all collectively said, nah, forget the future. Let's bet it all on the next game. Brilliant, right? Now here's the million-dollar question. Why are we doing this? Did anyone really get hurt by the old laws against gambling? Were they that bad? And what exactly are the benefits of plastering our lives with sports betting ads? I mean, who thought this was a great idea, besides the guys making a fortune off it? This risk-forward culture is like one big jump off a cliff. Fingers crossed, we land on something soft. So, let's take a step back. Why did we decide that more gambling was a great idea in the first place? Was it to make life more exciting, or just to see how far we could push it? And who benefits from this cultural shift toward more risk and less caution? Because it sure feels like someone is winning, but it might not be the everyday person trying to pay their bills. Turns out, Nate Silver has a theory. He says the river is winning. The risk takers, the gamblers, the venture capitalists, they're all raking in more and more cash. Meanwhile, the village, the cautious folks, are just trying to keep their heads above water. It's a culture war, but instead of swords and shields, we've got stocks and sports bets. But don't think for a second that Silver is blind to the downsides. He points out that Americans are living 5 years less than we should be, considering our economic power. And why? Because we love to take risks. Whether it's in gambling, stocks, or some weird crypto venture, we're all playing the game. And some of these games are more like traps, especially for those at the bottom. Now, if you thought things couldn't get crazier, enter Sam Bankman-Fried, the crypto wunderkind who casually called his business model a controversial investment model, without realizing that might be, problematic. And here's the kicker. He's not just gambling with money. He's gambling with the future of, everything. In one interview, he said he'd play a game where there's a 51% chance to double global wealth and a 49% chance of devastating consequences. And he'd do it over and over again. Sounds like a safe bet, right? Now, Silver calls out this kind of thinking. It's reckless, it's risky, and yet it's everywhere. From crypto billionaires to tech moguls, we're surrounded by people who think life is just one big algorithm to hack. It's like everyone suddenly thinks they're in some high-stakes poker game with the universe. Except most of us aren't holding any cards. But let's not get carried away. Sure, it seems like risk takers are running the show, but not everyone is jumping on board. In reality, Americans are moving less, acting more cautiously with their money, and even drinking and partying less than before. So maybe, just maybe, we're not all ready to roll the dice on everything just yet. Now, don't get me wrong, a little risk can be a good thing. After all, starting a business is risky, but it's also what keeps the economy dynamic and growing. And, hey, maybe letting kids explore and play without too much supervision builds character. So, yeah, risk isn't all bad, as long as it's the right kind of risk. But let's not romanticize everything. Remember the GameStop frenzy and meme stock crazes? Sure, some people made a quick buck, but let's be honest, most were just riding a wave of stimulus checks and boredom. And do we really want to go back to the days when risky behaviors were on the rise? Yeah, probably not. So here we are, caught between two views. One says we're being preyed upon by profit seekers, exposing us to more and more risk, while the other argues that we need to embrace risk, rebel against the safetyism, and be the heroes of our own stories. Who's right? Maybe both, maybe neither, or maybe we just need a better game plan. On one side, you've got folks from the capitalist center-right and the risk-takers of the river, who believe America's natural-born entrepreneurs are fighting back against a world that's getting too safe and boring. They see themselves as the champions of freedom, shaking things up and challenging the status quo. But others look at them and see, a bunch of reckless gamblers. Look, here's the truth. Not everything in life is a poker game. Not every decision benefits from being played like one. And it's a lot easier to take big risks when you're using someone else's money, or when you know there's a safety net waiting to catch you if you fall. Life, as it turns out, is a lot more like 3,000 poker games happening at once. Chaotic, messy, and often, there's no clear winner. Americans love Las Vegas, but let's be real. Almost everyone taps out after a few days under those bright, buzzing lights. Even the most hardcore gamblers know that living on a casino floor isn't exactly the dream life. It's fun to visit, but who really wants to stay forever?